What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. This week's episode is on the pros and cons of NXT Stand and Deliver. Now, to be fair, this year's Stand and Deliver might not be as history defining as it was last year, because as I'm getting my book, if you guys remember last year at NXT Stand and Deliver, last year's event actually had more matches on the card than almost any NXT card we had ever. So, if you guys remember the card from last year's Stand and Deliver, we had Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross for the NXT title, Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin in a ladder match to crown the Undisputed Cruiserweight Championship, the Undisputed Cruiserweight Champion, and this was back when the restrictions for UK travel actually kind of lifted up just a little bit. We had Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's title. We had MSK versus the Grizzly Young Veterans versus Legado del Fantasma in a triple threat match for the NXT Tag Team titles, which I believe were vacated. I believe they were vacated if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe they were vacated. If I'm right, if I remembered, they were vacated, I believe. Yeah, I remember they were vacated by Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan because Burch was out with an injury at that time. We had we actually had a gauntlet match where the winner would face Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American title, which featured Dexter Lumis, LA Knight, Bronson Reed, Leon Ruff, Cameron Grimes, and Isaiah Swerve Sky, in which Bronson Reed ended up winning that one. So it ended up being Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed for the NXT North American title. We had Walter, or I guess Gunther versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT United Kingdom title. Again, the restrictions had lifted just a little bit, so both Gunther and Jordan Devlin were able to travel from the UK here over to the US. And then, of course, we had Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in an unsanctioned match. Now they're back together over on AEW from what I've seen on social media, which is pretty crazy. We had Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Then, of course, Kushida versus Pete Dunne, and then we had Zoe Stark versus Toni Storm, as well as Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango against Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. 12 matches on the card across both nights, which was pretty insane if I say so myself. Although I will admit, last year's Stand and Deliver was not that great, to be honest. In fact, I think the reviews for Stand for that was let's see. If I remember correctly, the reviews were really low. If I remember correctly, let's see. I'm actually going online to a random website. Shoutouts to the website nobodyisready.com. Big shouts to them. No copyrights. You guys know how this works. Let's see how they reviewed it. Apparently they reviewed it as like incredible, but I really don't see it that way. In my honest opinion, last year's Stand and Deliver was not what, in my opinion, I feel like it wasn't what people were expecting, because when it came to because when it came to night one, the match card for night one was Zoe Stark versus Toni Storm, Pete Dunne versus Kushida. Obviously the Gauntlet Eliminator matchup. Gunther versus Ciampa. The NXT Tag Team title matchup. And then the NXT Women's title was defended in the main event on night one. Night two had Maverick and Dane against Breezango. The ladder match for the Undisputed Cruiserweight title. Moon and Blackheart against LeRae and Hartwell. Gargano versus Reed, Cross versus Balor for the NXT title, and then of course the unsanctioned match, which there were so many things that you could take away from both cards, and I think honestly, one of the biggest takeaways from that card definitely has to be the Gauntlet Eliminator. Because while it is true that yes, Bronson Reed did win, many people actually wanted Isaiah Swerve Scott to win that one. So now the question becomes, what could we expect? Excuse me. The big question is, what could we expect from this year's Stand and Deliver? And I think one of the biggest things that we can expect from this year's Stand and Deliver is, I think, honestly, just the. I think when it comes to NXT history, I think the one thing we can expect is possibly a brand new NXT champion, which is a possibility. Which is a very high possibility, but only time will tell. I will say this though, night one's card, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, but night two was very intriguing, to say the very least. But yes, Stand and Deliver, the reviews were pretty decent, I would say. I'm actually looking down the line. Let's see. Let's see. But yeah, this card ended up being one of the most insane nights out there. Let me find a different website. I guess not. There's nothing. But yeah, so last year's event was pretty insane, but I think this year there's a lot that we can expect. So as far as we know, we know that Carmelo Hayes will be defending his NXT North American Championship in the same match where the title first showed up in, a ladder match. If you guys remember at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, if you guys remember at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, it was one of the probably one of the best cards in NXT history, hands down. Not just because of the fact that we got to see not just because of the fact that we got to see as I'm scrolling down the line, really? Not just because of the fact that we got to see, Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title, and not just because of the fact that we got to see the NXT title get defended in the craziest way possible, but it was because of the fact that Adam Cole not only competed in the ladder match to crown a inaugural NXT North American champion, but it was also because of the fact that he and Kyle O'Reilly actually defeated Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne and the Authors of Pain to win the NXT Tag Team titles, which funny enough was the finals. Here's the funny thing: this ended up being the finals of the Dusty Cup, which was insane. But also, when you think about it, it was Roderick Strong that turned his back on Pete Dunne, turning heel, and joined up with the Undisputed Era. So TakeOver New Orleans was pretty good. It was a pretty good card. But I think the one thing that we have to expect from this year's Stand and Deliver is Mandy Rose defending her NXT Women's title, and again Carmelo Hayes defending his title in a ladder match. I feel like it should be against those that he has defeated since becoming champion. Whether it was such as Pete Dunne, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano. I know that there's been rumors running rampant that Gargano is supposedly signing with AEW, from what I've heard on social media, of course. But as of right now, from what I've been hearing, he's currently taking bookings for indie shows and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe we might see him back in NXT. Maybe, just maybe, Robert Roode, who's been with Dolph Ziggler, going to NXT the last few weeks, maybe he can get involved in that ladder match as well. But it's a high possibility, but only time will tell. But yeah. So Mandy Rose defending her title. I know that we're definitely going to be seeing. We're definitely going to be seeing. Toxic Attraction defending their tag team titles against the winners of the Women's Dusty Cup. We are definitely going to be seeing that. That right there is for certain, as far as we know. We know that the NXT title will be defended. I'm really tempted to say Cruiserweight Championship, but the title ended up being retired, I think, in New Year's Evil, unfortunately. Maybe we might see the NXT Tag Team titles get defended as well. I know that the Creed brothers are challenging Imperium for the NXT Tag Team titles I think tomorrow night, actually, on NXT Roadblock, which is going to be a very interesting one. very interesting card to say the very least. Yeah, I think if those things don't happen at NXT Stand and Deliver, this might be the worst card we have ever had in years. And I think the worst NXT TakeOver card, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, because you guys know when it comes to NXT, they would never throw away a TakeOver. Never. And I think TakeOver the End, I think would have to be probably the worst one. And the reason why I say TakeOver the End would have to be the worst one is because of the fact that there were a lot of different things that happened during, with this card. I know some people are saying, oh, this card was really good, this card was really good. I don't think so. I think, this one was kind of an odd one. So the card for TakeOver the End was Andrade versus Ty Dillinger, or I guess now Shawn Spears. Then of course we had the Revival versus American Alpha for the tag team titles. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries. Asuka versus Nia Jax for the NXT Women's title, and the Samoa Joe versus the Demon Finn Balor for the NXT title. Those were the only 3 titles that were ever in NXT until we got the North American Championship and the NXT Women's Tag Team titles as well, which 5 titles, that's not bad. But again, many people, everybody wanted to see, Finn Balor win, everybody wanted to see Finn Balor win, but it was inside steel cage. So Finn Balor didn't have, from what I've heard, Finn Balor had no experience inside a steel cage up until this point. Samoa Joe, on the other hand, has been in cage matches before, so it was no different for him. But although, yes, there were some positive reviews, a lot of people didn't like this one. But I think another thing that we can expect, I would love to see all the titles in NXT get defended. Because if they don't do that, then I'm assuming we might not. We might say we might not, but only time will tell. But again, as far as we know, Carmelo Hayes will be defending his title in a ladder match at Stand and Deliver. But again, the question becomes, what is to be expected? I think, honestly, we need to see at least 4 championships defended and have, let's say, 3 other matches, ending rivalries once and for all. We'll say, the Creeds, Legado, MSK Imperium, and GYV in a ladder match for the NXT Tag Team titles. It's possible, but only time will tell. But that brings me to the question of the day: what match do you guys want to see take place at NXT Stand and Deliver? Let me know in the comments below, and that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want to see more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue, which get posted every Monday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way.
And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail you guys want to send me, and you guys want me to open up the mail on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.